Hello, eRank. Welcome to another eRank Live Q&A with me, Pam Duthie, and hopefully 3, 2, 1, him, Anthony Wolf. Oh, that was an interesting start.
Sorry about that. Just as we're going live, my computer went into a really weird loop, and anyway, I saved the day.
We've got you.
Yep, found the hammer and just fixed it up.
Yep.
How are you?
Not bad. Yeah, it's good to have you here. Hopefully, everyone was already watching Starla doing her Brand Planet webinar. And yeah, so she needed a little bit of a break. So we have Anthony again. So you really need to get
with me.
your
Sorry,
questions
folks.
in. I don't know. I think people are liking having you around. They've definitely liked having you in the customer support chat. That seems to be doing well.
I am really enjoying it, believe it or not. And I think, like, as a CEO, it's really good to see unfiltered feedback from the customers, you people out there, this sounds terrible, from everyone out there. So yeah, I'm glad I've done that. I'm still doing it, and I might do it a little bit more because I'm getting some really interesting feedback. We had Julian from Germany on earlier today, gave me some great ideas for improving some of the reports for not only German members, but everyone else. So yeah, it's been really good.
Oh, fab. Yeah, no, it is always good to get your nose in the boots of things. I remember years ago, I used to work for GlaxoSmithKline, fairly big company, and we got a brand new boss. Yeah, a brand new boss, and he turned up, unbeknownst to all of us, turned up in the night shift in his overalls and got in and worked with us all. So, and then asking people what they thought about the company and stuff. It was very mean of him.
Did he ask them what they think of the new boss?
He hadn't been around long enough to be able to ask about that yet. We hadn't. I don't think he was even due to start till the next week. It was
okay. All right. So who have we got on today? If you're in the chat, say hi. Let us know where you are. I'm Anthony, founder of eRank, and I'm in Ohio, USA right now, and it's sunny outside. So it's that one of the 2 days a week when it's sunny here.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, I think you really do get the same weather as us then.
Oh, yeah. And it's 7 degrees in the Celsius scale.
Cool. Yeah, well, I think we have every Wednesday I put up a thread in the eRank Facebook group, and if you're not a member of that, if you're joining us from YouTube, there'll be links in the comments below in the description to join us. And so we've got all the questions from there, but I think, just to put Anthony totally on the spot, there's a live in the Facebook group question that I kind of think would be a good one for the start of the video. In a condensed form, else we'll be here for hours. But can you start, please, with an explanation of eRank?
Oh, yeah, no problem. It's a weight loss and hair regaining pill.
Well, you do have a pretty good head of hair there, so it could
it's all an illusion. It's a bad wig, actually. I need a haircut. So, well, in a nutshell, what we are here to do is help people sell on Etsy. So we take a look at your listings and provide you with tips and suggestions on how to optimize them to appear higher up in Etsy search results. On top of that, we provide you with some great keyword research tools so you can spot trends as they're happening or what they were like last year, and discover new keywords that you may not have thought of before, and tools that help you do a whole bunch of competitive research. So that's kind of us in a nutshell. So if you're thinking of selling on Etsy, or you are selling on Etsy, you've come to the right place.
Absolutely. Yep, sounds good to me.
I'm not a marketing person, so I'm not too great at spinning it.
Yeah, sadly, you've got the two nerds on the stream, guys. So yeah, we don't have all the flashy language of Starla, but hopefully we can manage. Right, so I think we can jump over to the Facebook group, and I will hit Anthony with all of the questions. This is so good. Um, yeah. But don't forget, keep your questions coming in the YouTube. That sounds so cool and professional. In YouTube or in the Facebook group, keep your questions coming, and we'll circle around and get back to them once we're done with the yesterday's questions. So Selena, first of all, asked, does putting your shop on vacation mode have a negative impact on your shop, like taking you out of the algorithm? So when you reopen, is it like starting from the bottom again?
So we had this question last week, actually. Yeah, it was it last week or the week before? Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It's a common question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has a temporary negative effect on your shop. And the reason behind that is that Etsy looks at recent activity with the listings in search results and goes, oh, okay, this shop seems to be getting some sort of interest, and this listing is, hey, it's getting sold. So when you go into vacation, those positive signals aren't happening as much anymore. So the trust is a little reduced. But the good news is it picks up pretty quickly. My wife's shop, she's gone on vacation many times for a few days to a couple of weeks, and every single time comes back. Oh, she comes back from vacation, and sales are nowhere near where they were. But very quickly after that, they bounce back to normal. So definitely
Oh,
keep that in mind. If you're going to take a few days off, you may want to consider just extending your processing time a few days. Otherwise, yeah, if you have to take it off, maybe there's a family emergency or something like that, then put your shop into vacation mode and relax, deal with what you've got to deal with, and then come back and just be aware that it will be slow for a few days while things pick up again.
absolutely. We all have to live. But there is no negative impact in that. Etsy actually covered this in an article, Your Search Questions Answered, which is in the Ultimate Guide to SEO on Etsy. And basically it is like Anthony said, it's not a case of putting it on vacation mode immediately. They go, oh no, switch this shop off, this is gone. This is terrible. It just means you're not getting seen. So the longer you're on vacation mode, your competitors are building up more of a sales history. So that's what happens. Julie asks us, is it better to use long tail keywords in your title? And does it matter if you use the vertical line to separate titles or a comma?
Okay. I think long tail keywords in your title are great. I would recommend that you begin your titles with something that makes sense, because if you look at search results on Etsy, only about 4 or 5 words are visible. The rest is hidden. You will see the rest when you click on that listing, but as a visual magnet to attract someone in, if you've got a bit of gibberish at the front, it's not going to work too well. So if those first few words are long tail keywords and they really describe what you're selling well, great, that's win-win. Yeah, I think that's it for long tail keywords. So yeah, definitely do it. And what was the second part there, Pam?
Does it matter if you use the vertical line to separate, or is it better to use a comma?
All right. It's been a while since I've done analysis on this, but oh gosh, it's been about 3 years actually. So take this with a pinch of salt. But we looked at the views of a whole bunch of listings and compared the hyphens, the forward slashes, the commas, and the difference was negligible. I think the comma one was like slightly higher views per listing, but it was really nothing meaningful. I think that the punctuation helps people understand what you are listing, but it has next to no impact on ranking or matching as far as Etsy is concerned.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be a buyer behavior thing, how they respond.
To put it more succinctly, just make it look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Collie or Coley, sorry, I'm terrible with names. Can you use the rank checker to find high search, low competition tags and keywords that others are using?
Uh, you can definitely find the tags that your competitors are using, that's for sure. But we don't do a very good job of highlighting those high search, low competition ones. But it sounds pretty interesting. I wonder if we can maybe look at modifying that a little bit, because it's, it's a little bit like the keyword tool. So we use something similar in the keyword tool. So if you were to go in there and look at the keyword ideas section and then select the popular tags radio button, that will give you all the popular tags as well as the search volume and the competition levels. But it only analyzes the top 100. I think if we could do something like that for the rank checker and analyze the top 500, you may get some really interesting keywords coming back. And if we can add in the search, sorry, I'm thinking out loud, aren't I?
That's great.
Yeah,
Cool.
I think it's a really neat idea. I'm going to take that one away and see if there's something we can do there.
Oh, fab. See, this is why it's good to ask when
Hey,
Anthony's
I didn't
here.
say we're not do it, I suppose.
Even so, you've given him ideas. That's good. I was
Yeah.
just basically going to say, you can, but we've got better tools for that. And Anthony just goes, oh, well, I could redesign the tool.
I mean,
Fantastic.
I say it without really, I need to remind myself that when we change something, as much as everyone that may be listening to me go, oh yeah, Anthony, that's a really good idea, there's going to be a whole bunch of people that go, what the hell did you do to it? You've ruined it.
Yeah.
So we got to be careful. So it does take a bit of time. One, it can be complexity, but two, it can also be, we have to figure out how it's going to be received by people who are seeing this for the first time, especially if they were used to a very different experience before.
Yeah, cool. Okay, asthma. Sorry, I'm terrible with names. Basic question about long tail keywords, which we already answered really, but we also had, do I need to repeat the same keywords used in my title in the first sentence in my description and also in my tags?
No, you don't need to. That's the short answer. Though it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of repetition in the title and the tags. Etsy have told us in the past that a little bit of repetition can send a slightly stronger signal to Etsy's algorithms that says these are the most important keywords for my listing. So by all means, maybe repeat one or two keywords, but don't do the whole lot. Etsy have been very clear. Don't just copy and paste it. It makes no sense at all. It only has such a, well, let's put it this way. If you've got one or two keywords that are really important, they're really important. If they're all really important, then none of them are important. So just think of it like that. You just want to focus in that superstar keyword area, those few keywords that you really want to rank well for. As for the description, I would focus on writing a description that is human friendly. Don't worry about writing a description that is friendly to the robots and the algorithms. It's pointless. The description is your last chance to win a buyer over. You've done your SEO work. You've ranked well for a search phrase. Your image is good enough that people click on it and they go through a few other images. They're kind of liking the price, and then they're going, what's the catch? And they read the description. So at that point, that's your last chance to win them over. So make it a good description. Make it very clear what it is, the characteristics about the listing. Don't worry about stuffing in keywords you've already put elsewhere. To me, it doesn't make sense. Just make it a good, natural flowing description that is that last chance you've got to win a buyer over.
Absolutely. I don't think it's been good practice anywhere to pretty much just copy your tags into a description, like anywhere on the internet.
Yeah.
But if you discovered, if your item is, because Anthony's here, I'm going to say some kind of slime. So you discovered that if anyone doesn't know, back in the day, Anthony's example was always slime. So I'm
Yeah.
stealing it.
It's my
So
go-to keyword.
exactly, and it's trending again a little bit. Um,
I know that store.
so if you discovered your superstar keyword was crunchy cloud slime, I think that's the thing.
Apparently, it is
If
now.
Yeah, there we go. So if you'd figured out this was like your superstar keyword, when you're in the description describing your item, it's probably easy to say something about this crunchy cloud slime, or somewhere in the description those words are going to be. But you don't want to like have your title that just have your description as some kind of keyword stuffed thing, because that doesn't help anybody. Just describe it. Yes. Oh, Nesserine? I'm so sorry.
You're really struggling with the names
I'm really
today.
terrible. Yeah. There's a Wendy coming up soon. I can do a Wendy.
Okay. Yeah.
Um, Given everything else is equal, how does the shop age influence sales?
Hmm. That's a really good question. I think shop age by itself doesn't have much in the way of influence. I think at the end of the day, it's all about reputation. So you've got to build up a reputation of delighting buyers. And the best way to do that is to get positive feedback. You can get no feedback and still do well. But I think, I mean, you've got to look at it from Etsy's point of view. The last thing they want to do is have to deal with refunds and people buying something that lets them down and then they never come back and buy again. So shop age really doesn't come into the equation there. I'll put a little caveat in there. There are always a few scammers out there that will start up a shop and try and sell a whole bunch of stuff really fast and then just disappear. So a very young shop will be seen a little skeptically from Etsy's algorithms for that reason. They want to make sure that you are keeping up with your end of the bargain. So you will have this sort of, I don't know, I guess it's like a probation period where you sort of, it's a little hard for you at the beginning, and I think everyone out there will echo this. It takes a while to get a bit of traction, and that's why. So sure, shop age, I guess, at that beginning has a little bit of an impact, but I think in the long run, as long as you're delivering a great buyer experience, you can compete with shops that have been around for a lot longer.
Yeah, I think that's everything else equal is the difficult thing, because if your shop's been around for a couple of years, everything else isn't equal, because people could have been sharing you on social media. You have repeat customers, you have that listing and shop quality score and everything. So yeah, there's a whole lot.
Oh, looks like we've got a fellow Aussie on the on the call. Blonde Truther.
Oh, cool.
G'day.
Asma, again, thank you for all the questions. I'm sorry if I'm messing up your name. What's the best way to prepare a listing description aside from looking for keywords and finding the best ones? Is there a tool in eRank that can use my list of keywords and generate a title?
Did you say title at the end and description at the beginning?
I did, yes.
Oh, okay. No, we don't have a tool to do that. That chat GPT sounds like an interesting beastie that might be able to help. So right now, yeah, we don't have anything that can really help you in constructing those titles or descriptions. Sorry.
Yeah, it is a good question.
Hmm,
And
hmm,
like I've had a play with the chat GPT, if anyone hasn't. It is fantastic,
hmm.
but you're going to have to double it. There's two problems with it, I found. You do have to double check. It doesn't write perfectly, so you still have to be a proofreader for everything. And I specifically asked it about keyword research and stuff, and it told me it has no access to any kind of keyword research. So everything it's telling you is just based on what it's seen around the internet. And it was trained up to 2021, so it doesn't have any newer data than that as well.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
it is actually, you could give it your keywords that you've chosen from eRank as a starter for getting it to give you some idea of titles.
Hmm.
It gave some
What
really
about
good ideas
yeah.
of titles. It was very cool. And then I did this. I asked it for some ideas for products, and then I asked it for some ideas of keywords. The fantastic thing, it gave me some keywords that were definitely Google. They were long tags. So I said, eRank, Etsy only lets you have 20 characters. And it apologized for the oversight and changed it. It made me laugh having a robot apologize to me. So it did all that. That was really cool, but you have to double check them because it has
Hmm.
no, it doesn't have like eRank's data or anything.
Yeah,
So
I think if you're using a service like that, it'd be very interesting to see the results. The only alarm bell that's going off in the back of my head is around the accuracy slash honesty of the title or descriptions that it comes up with. So I probably want to do a little bit of fact checking to make sure it didn't exaggerate. How
yes.
wonderful your listing is. You probably still want it to be quite truthful, well written, but truthful.
Yeah. And that is one thing. You can read it through, and if you see something you don't like, you can actually say, I call it chatty. So you can say to Chat GPT, that's good, but can you change that paragraph, or can you add this and stuff? And it writes it. It
Hmm.
does. It's a collaborative thing, so it is pretty cool. Um,
Can you get it to
but
write descriptions in Shakespearean English?
yep,
Hmm.
yes, you can do all of that. Another foot right. I'm
I don't
not
reckon I'm
not
doing
yeah. I did ask it once to tell me what Darth Vader would think of Etsy. That was quite funny.
that.
So yeah, it's fun, but yeah, there isn't any tool at the minute in time that can do it all for you without any input from you. We're definitely got to do some work on it.
Hmm.
Wendy asked, thank you for
Hey,
having a name I can pronounce. Sorry, everybody. What are possible reasons for getting tons of favorites but low conversion, especially when conversion used to be high?
wow. People maybe putting in their shopping cart for a few months away from now. Is it like a forward thinking sort of gift, like a Mother's Day or a Father's Day, which is still a month or so away? Um, I don't know. That's a really interesting one.
Yeah, I think it
My,
depends on the times, the
I
time
think
frames.
I would be curious to know if you have blasted out some links to, say, all your friends on social media, and they've done you a favor by going in and favoriting your product. I wonder if that may have happened. It doesn't sound like normal search behavior. So maybe it's something from social media, or you were playing some favorite games with some other sellers, which you shouldn't do.
Yep. Um, I think it depends what you mean by tons of favorites
Mm,
and
yeah.
low conversion and everything. I have certainly found and seen with loads of people, and it completely makes sense. Conversion at this time of the year is very different than conversion in the run up to Christmas. Because my behavior when I'm shopping in the run up to Christmas is you buy it.
Yeah.
You're just whereas just now you might just be looking. You can go back 3 or 4 times and look at things. So
Mm,
it could just be the time of year. It could be that people are concerned about money just now. It's not the best time of year. I think we already said last week they're paying off their bills from Christmas still.
yeah.
There's all sorts of world situations. People aren't necessarily as job secure. So
Mm,
yes, they might be a little slower to purchase, but
mm,
very much as well. If you've had a sudden burst from social media, that can increase the views, increase the favorites, but not necessarily increase the sales. But it's not going to hurt. Don't freak out if you see a sudden, like an influx, you go viral on Pinterest or something. It's not going to hurt your shop. It's a good thing, but that conversion might look different. Oh, we're back to names I can't pronounce again. It could be Athelia. Yeah, Athelia. What are some of your favorite tips for running Etsy ads?
Well, as someone that hasn't run Etsy ads for about, when did they kill them? Make them really bad? About 2 years ago.
A couple of years, yeah.
I can't give you great modern advice, but I think what I tell you will still apply. My wife and I, when we look at her ads, by the way, back in the day, she was spending maybe $1 and making $13 or $14. That's how good it used to be. What we would do is look at the listings that are being advertised, and we'd have this sort of revolving door sort of process. So anything that was like the worst of those performing ads, they'll be thrown out, and we put another couple of ads in there, listings in there to advertise to see what worked well. So the idea is you have maybe 5 or 10 listings that you're advertising at any one time, and it's like this ongoing A/B testing. So after a week, you say, well, these couple here did nothing, like no views, no clicks, whatever it is, they're gone, put something else in. These ones did well, we're going to keep them in there for longer. So that would be what I'd recommend. Don't advertise everything. Be selective, be strategic about it. Look for listings that you know are going to sell. Don't advertise something because it never sells. There's probably a very good reason why it's not selling. I'd be more interested in advertising products that I know convert well. If I'm going to spend money, I want to make sure that I'm getting my money back. So I hope that gives you a couple of pointers there. If anyone else has been successful with Etsy ads, especially in the last year or so, I'd love to hear more. So post some comments in the chat or in the Facebook group to let us know if you've got any tips that have been working well for you in the last year or so. Please share it. I think there'd be a lot of people out there that would love to know what you've learned.
I would indeed. I have noticed over the past, since Etsy changed it, there are very few people who are doing very well with Etsy ads now. I think in the past year we used to have that fantastic return on investment, and we got very spoiled because that's not how ads usually work, to be perfectly honest.
Yep.
So yeah, it did surprise us. I think I've got three quick tips, and Anthony's are great and still absolutely work just now. But firstly, don't put more into your ads than you're willing to completely lose. You have no guarantee of any sales with Etsy ads. So think of it as a marketing investment rather than pay money, get money back, unfortunately.
Gambling.
Yeah, exactly. It is a little bit, quite a lot. Don't just expect to turn the ads on and leave them. As Anthony says, you go back and look. The one thing I do like that was added to the ads recently in the past year or so is if you go into your ads dashboard, it's marketing Etsy ads, and then I can't remember which button, but you click on something, you see all the listings. Underneath each listing, there is a link for searched terms. When you go into that, it shows you the terms that you're being found for, the keywords that buyers were searching for, which is already great. But there's also a button underneath each term that if they're irrelevant for your listings, because that happens, sometimes you get shown for things that you didn't want to be. I think some of the biggest things that people saw a while ago was like people who were selling handbags were getting shown for like searches of Gucci, which they didn't want to be because they're not Gucci. So there's a button where you can switch off, give the feedback to Etsy and say, my listing is nothing to do with that. Can we stop doing that? I said 3, but I think I've only got 2 tips. There you go.
I wasn't counting.
Fair enough. I maybe shouldn't have said anything. And then the last one for Facebook, and then we'll be on to the live chat. We've got Andrea. I want to get better at sharing my Etsy shop on social media, but I always struggle with how to properly share the shop links, especially when I want to share a shop section link. They all seem too long, or I'm doing it through my account and it's not opening for people. Could you demonstrate how to best share Etsy links?
That might be one for you, Pam.
It's a good question. I don't think I've ever tried to share a shop section.
No, yeah. Well, while you're thinking about that one, I can help with the listing side. We built a report in the listings menu down near the bottom called links. And if you were to click on that, you can get a dump of all the links for your listings. And we structured it in a way so that Etsy doesn't throw those ads at the top of those links. So if you forget how to do it, you can always pop in there, go to the listings links option, and then export. And suddenly you've got a spreadsheet of all the links for your listings that you can share with your friends.
Yep.
As for sections, I haven't shared that.
No, I haven't tried. The other thing I saw there, you're saying when you're doing it through your account. I'm not. I don't want to say to people don't do this, but I wouldn't share to your social media through the link on Etsy. There's several reasons for this, but in general, each social media platform wants you to be on their platform. So, like, if you just hit the button to share to Pinterest, it shares the image from your Etsy shop, the image from your listing, which isn't formatted. It's not in the right dimensions for Pinterest, so they don't like it all. They don't hate it, but you can do better. So it can always be better to go sort of natively or use some of the specific apps that are designed for sharing to those things. I'm not a big fan of just hitting the button from your Etsy shop. That's kind of like the lazy marketing that doesn't get much bang for your buck, really. Yeah, but yeah, I much prefer. You can go into Starla has tons of videos on this. She's not here today, but Starla has tons of videos on how to use Canva for things. And you can very easily resize tons of social media posts to go to lots of different places, because what's liked on Pinterest is different to what's liked on Facebook to what's wanted on Instagram. So, yeah.
Well, while we change gears, if you've got questions, get them into the chat, because I think you just got through all the ones that were posted in Facebook.
Yes, those were the early bird questions. So thank you so much, everyone. We post every Wednesday. We post to get the early bird questions in, and then I think we have quite a few in the chat. I think
I see a lot of comments in here. I've been looking distracted. It's like, oh, someone else posted something here.
I know it is so hard not to keep an eye on all the chat. I don't know how Starla did in her webinar today, but it's so hard when you see a chat box just flying past you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right. Lots of people ask this. So I know this is a late question, but why is Etsy allowing non-handmade products? I thought it was a platform for only handmade.
Oh gosh, I think that rule was thrown out the window, 10 years ago? Something like that. I will say this. If you're making handmade, you're really appealing to people that want something that is made from the heart. And these people that are mass producing stuff, they're not stealing money from you. They're not even in the mindset of people that are looking for stuff that's made from the heart, that's personalized. So I wouldn't worry about them. And the other positive thing I would say is, the great thing is they're paying fees to Etsy, which means that the Etsy aren't going to raise their fees as fast as they would have to if it was only people that were making handmade stuff. So love them and hate them at the same time.
It's tricky, but over the years, Etsy has changed. I mean, what even
Mm.
is considered handmade now wouldn't have been 10 years ago. Uh, yeah, I like Anthony's cheerful approach to it, that they're paying for us, and
Yeah.
they aren't our competition. It feels like it, but they're not. Um, Mehmet,
Mehmet.
we don't. Sorry,
Mehmet.
Mehmet. Yeah. Right, everybody. I'm just going to say everybody's name wrong. To be fair,
Yeah.
so
You're
I'm
just saying it in
terrible.
Scottish, and I'm saying it in Australian. So,
That's true. Yeah, we've got everyone's going to have subtitles on today, aren't they?
oh yeah. Okay,
Um,
what's the question here?
yeah, we don't use social media actively. How do we inform our customers about an upcoming sale?
Mailing lists. I think that's probably it. I wish Starla was here for this one. She'd be all over this. Yeah, I would say in my Starla voice, put on, create a mailing list. Yeah, create a mailing list, and when you've got an event coming up, let people know that way.
Absolutely. You need some way, if you want to announce to your followers that you're doing something, you need some way to capture your followers somewhere.
Yeah.
I have been sold a little mailing lists after they do quite well for eRank. If you haven't signed up for the eRank mailing list, you really should. But yeah, it definitely did a whole lot better than I thought, because I'm one of those horrible people that sign up for things and then just put them to my junk folders immediately. So I don't open mailing lists, but it appears lots of people do. So yeah, bear in mind, follow the rules. People have to actively sign up. You can't just take you can't go back through your past customers and contact them in any way unless they've agreed to sign up for these kind of
Yeah.
things. So your past customers, there's nothing you can do about them. Oh, we're getting lots of weather. I was wondering why we're getting weather, because
Oh, from the
Anthony
beginning, yeah.
Anthony asked about the weather, so it's
Oh god.
gross and rainy and things. Um,
Oh yeah, who have we got in there? Oh, Lenise has hijacked Denise's computer again by the looks. In Florida.
um, oh,
How
that's a bit,
hard
yeah.
am I be?
I'm not even going to try and say this because this is a YouTube name, but I use Shelf Trend to find what's selling on eBay, and I wish eRank can do the same, but just can't work it out.
I'm keen to explore eBay, Amazon, and Amazon Handmade this year, as well as Shopify. So I'm not familiar with Shelfriend, and so I can't really say, yeah, we're going to do something like that. But we do have a lot of eBay data. I mean, a lot, like more than the Etsy data that we've got. So when time permits, we will start looking at that more closely and start to figure out what we can share. If we can determine what products are selling, or what keywords are converting well, things like that, we will look to find a way to help you out there. All I can say right now is if you are looking for what's popular on eBay, you can pop in the Trend Buzz report, select eBay from the left menu, and you can see like the top 100 keywords from there. Or if you've got an idea of what sort of keywords you want to use and you want to see how often they're searched, you can go into the Keyword Explorer at the top of the page, put in that term. So it could be comic book or something like that. Select, there's two drop downs there, one on the left, which says Etsy. If you click on that, you can see a list of marketplaces that we support. If you select all, then hit the search button. We will come back with the estimated search volumes for those keywords across a whole range of markets. Actually, you know what? That's that's probably a good segue to do a bit of a screen share, huh?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Bear with me a second. I'll get this. I was just hearing myself, and I'm going, why haven't I got this on the screen?
No, absolutely, it's a good one. Because we did these changes recently-ish, and I don't think we've shouted about them enough, have we?
No, we have not. Screen.
So now we try and use technology and
Oh
not
yeah,
break
yeah.
things.
Watch the old man go here.
Right, let's see if this works.
I will share a window. This one. All right.
Ooh, can I make that? Not me. There, that kind of worked.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's large enough. So what I'm talking about here is if I go into here and type in comic books, I can select all, like so. You can pick a bunch of countries, but I'll pick on the US because I think most of us are in the US here. Although I did see at least one person from Ireland and I think one from Australia. So anyway, what happens is you get something like this. Let me make this a little bit larger. There we go. So we have gone into our database and said, right, which sites are getting the most queries for comic books? And believe it or not, Craigslist. I would not have thought of that. So there you go. Craigslist, Amazon, eBay is up there. I would have thought eBay would have been ruling the roost in that respect. Yeah, but there you go. So we have that feature there. So if you're looking for what's popular on eBay or other marketplaces, then use that.
Yep, so that's the keyword explorer, isn't
Yes.
it? Yes. Yeah, just I think because myself and Starla had been bigging up the keyword tool far too much, Anthony decided to add more features to the keyword explorer to make it a cool tool again.
Yeah, no, it's I mentioned this last week, I think. Oh gosh. The keyword tool is great for Etsy. The keyword explorer, we are making it great for Etsy and other marketplaces. So you'll see this year more and more enhancements made there. So it'll get pretty exciting by September, maybe sooner.
Cool. See, there's always new ideas
Yeah.
due to be coming out. All right. Okay, so we have from Paige, one of my favorite features is the tracking feature, but it's only 20. Is there a way to add more listings for an additional fee?
No, sorry. We will look into it, possibly for the pro and expert plans. The reason why I'm hesitating here is I just know how much pressure we put on the Etsy API. And so that's the service that we use to bring the data down from Etsy. So I'd like to try and keep a pretty good friendship with the guys over there. I don't want to piss them off and then go, you can't keep doing this, Anthony. So we've had to put a bit of a limit on there. I know 20 sucks. It's not really useful. But I'll promise you this: we are looking at a way to at least do it for some of our paying members. So hopefully we can find a nice solution that works for everyone and doesn't get us put in Etsy jail.
Yeah, I suppose that's kind of important.
Yeah, maybe they'll start sending us a bill. Ooh.
BH2 on YouTube. Oh yeah, I can put these up again. Does editing the SEO title and pricing to a published listing harm that listing on Etsy?
It can. So you've got to be careful. Let's see. So if it's a listing that's selling, you want to make sure that you are not removing good keywords from that title. I would go into your seller dashboard, into the search analytics, and look up the keywords that are sending traffic to that listing. If you are seeing keywords that are sending traffic to that listing, do not remove them. If you remove them, then there is a chance that your listing will no longer match when people in the future search for those keywords, if they're not on your listing somewhere else. So be really careful about that. Let's see, pricing, it's an interesting balancing act. So I was saying to a group the other day in a webinar, Etsy buyers have pretty good disposable income, so above the household median in the US. So they're not poor. I'm speaking generally here. There are a lot out there which are trying to count every penny, but my point here is that sometimes you can price yourself into a new segment where perhaps the price increases the perception of quality for your product. So that could be where you price up and you start getting more sales. Or you could also price it incorrectly and hurt your sales. So you've really got to be careful with what you edit there. To the previous person that was asking about the tracking of listings, if you feel a bit daring and you go and change a few things up, like the price and the title, and you mess things up, you can pop into your listing audit on eRank for that listing and go down to the sales history, and you'll see what you had there previously when it sold. So you can undo something there. But yeah, it can mess things up. Just be really careful with that.
Yeah, it's things like the pricing, the photograph, changing the description won't immediately directly change. It won't change what's happening on Etsy, but over time, depending on how the customers respond to it, that can change it. But yeah, if you go and change your title completely or change your tags, you could take out those keywords that were really working for you.
Yeah. Anything that has to do with the matching of keywords between what people are searching for and what's found in your listings, anything there you've got to be really careful about. You can remove those fluff words that no one's searching for, but if you remove those ones that they're searching for, can be big trouble.
Okay, it was the person asking about shelf trend again.
Oh, okay, yep.
They were just asking, they want to find out what a particular customer is selling on eRank. A particular, I'd say
Okay.
what a particular seller is selling on eRank, I imagine.
So Etsy are very clear to us about what is public data and what is private data. And what is selling, like what specific items are selling, is considered private data. So we can't tell you that so-and-so sells like 10 of this product each day or something like that. That would be a breach of our agreement with Etsy and a serious privacy violation. So we can't do that. There are some pieces of information that Etsy make public that can infer or give you a hint that there are sales though. So one thing I'd recommend you do is go to the top seller section, then look up a shop, and once the information comes up, you scroll down the page. How about I share my screen again, Pam?
Sure thing.
I'll show you. How about that? Okay. Am I nearly there? Okay, that's pretty good. All right, so I'm going to go into the competition section. Just click on top sellers. So I could type in a name up here, or I'll pick on Caitlin Minimalist because she's like the most awesome shop on Etsy, 2.1 million sales. So I've just clicked on that shop name. And what's going to come up in a second once we get the data from Etsy are some stats about what we know about this shop. But more importantly, recent listings. So what's in here is a mixture of what's sold recently, what's been updated recently, and what's been added or created recently. So if you know that shop pretty well and you know that they haven't added many listings lately and perhaps they're too busy to be always updating, then there's a pretty good chance that what you are seeing in here are items that are selling really well. So I would use that. It's less creepy than trying to share private data. Yeah, I think that's it. I feel like I was going to make another point there. But was there another part to that question, Pam?
Nope, I think that covers it. Yep.
Okay, that's probably the best I would suggest you do there. If you're looking at ways that, or a way to find out what's really popular on Etsy for a specific keyword, you could go into the keyword tool, which I'll just pop into here. And I will search for digital planners. Now, it'll take a minute for the data to come back from Etsy, so you'll see this little gray sort of area.
Yep, that's not us being slow.
No, we're waiting on Etsy at this point. I could probably make the developers create a more interesting animation. Boom, boom, boom. Just talk amongst yourselves for a second. Maybe sing a song. All right, so right down the bottom, we've got a couple of little interesting sections. I'm just going to scroll down. Oops, too far. Here we go. So we've got the top 100 listings from Etsy based on the relevancy score. The beauty here is that you can sort the results by the number of views. So if you click on that twice, you can suddenly see that for digital planners, this listing here may not be ranked number one, but it's getting a truckload of views. And if the typical listing on Etsy has between a 1 and 3 or 4% conversion rate, that's a lot of sales. So that's one way you could look for ideas on what sort of products are selling on Etsy. We can't tell you when those views occurred. They could have occurred 5 years ago, and maybe there's only a dribble now. But I think if this is still appearing on page 1 or 2 and it's got a lot of views, there's a pretty damn good chance that this is a product that's still actively selling on Etsy.
Absolutely. That's a good little cheat. Because bear in mind how Etsy tells us this, how they rank things in search like this is based not just on the keywords, but on the likelihood of people going to buy it, how it converts when seen in search for that specific search term. So if they're ranking things in the first couple of pages, they think they're a good bet. So yeah, that's a good place to snoop, indeed.
Yeah. Well, you can also do the rank check and look at the top 500.
Yep,
if
absolutely.
More
Marta asks, is it a good idea to offer a choice of t-shirt fits in one listing, or is it too confusing? So pick a size, color, and fit. Can it discourage people? How much choice is too much choice?
You know, I was having a chat to someone about this the other day, but my personal preference is I like the look of a shirt. I don't necessarily know what size it is. I want to go in there and I want to know that my size is available. So I would definitely put it in there. Even colors, I think that's fair game for a shirt purchase, size and color. Maybe if you're throwing in different messages or something, that might be where you want to create a different listing. What do you think, Pam?
Yeah, I'd say for shirts, that doesn't sound too much. Cheers asking size, color, and fit. My possible feeling would be to have listings, like if there's 3 different fits, have 3 different listings for the type of fits, as Anthony says. What you look at is, but the size and color, that's expected when I click on an item of clothing. That's the right amount. I have said that it is very possible to have too much choice. I've seen people do that, like making custom jewelry, and you get the options of 6, 7, or 8 charms from this section and this section, and it's, if something is too confusing to be able to explain to people in a few seconds what it means, then you've got too much choice. I think size and color of a shirt, absolutely expected. Fit, you could put it in there, but I would probably separate that out.
I probably wouldn't mind fit being in there.
Yeah.
Have a look at what other sellers are doing. Hopefully they have trained your buyers to see it all in there, or perhaps there is a method that most other sellers are using. I would probably follow the crowd in this case.
Absolutely, that's always a good thing. You can use any of our tools to find out what the top sellers for these kind of keywords are doing, or what we assume the top sellers are. Trying to see how many more questions we've got. We've got like 4 minutes left before Debbie explodes and tells us off. Does the first letter in every word have to be capitalized in a title?
No. Nope.
That was an easy one.
It doesn't. The only thing I'll add for capitalization is if you have excessive capitalization, like I think it is 4 or more words that are in all caps, you run the risk of having that listing removed from Etsy. At least I think that's still the policy, right?
As far as I know, we just did a video on how to write titles in this YouTube thing, and yes, I pulled it out. It's 3 or 4 words, can't be all capitals, and I think Google's even more grumpy about things like that. But yes,
it's seen as a bit of a spamming tactic, so you wouldn't want to do that. But yeah, first letter, I think it's perfectly fine.
Yeah, that's kind of standard how to write a title kind of things, rather than needed for SEO. Oh, here's something we get often that I think we have to think about before we say it quite often. Lisa, when you compare a listing, are the views actually visits? When I compare my own listings, the views as per eRank are very close to my visits as per Etsy, but miles off from views as per Etsy.
Yeah, so views and visits are very different. Typically, views will be higher than visits. Now, if you are seeing differences between views and views between what we're showing on eRank and what we're showing on Etsy, please send us some examples of that. We recently got Etsy to commit to adding views back to their API service that we use, where we get the data from. They were a little hesitant to do that at first, and I think that's because there were some issues with the information they were sending. So if you see a difference between views and views, send them through. Let us know the date and time, and we'll pass those on to the developers at Etsy and see if they can help investigate, and if there's a problem there, get them to fix that.
Yeah,
I will tell you though, what we show you is exactly what we got from Etsy. We don't make stuff up. So if they're giving us the wrong information, we'll let them know. We'll give them examples, and hopefully they can make it more accurate.
Yep, these kind of data comes directly from Etsy, so it should be the same. So if you're looking at the same date range and everything, then we need to check.
Sorry. I remember a comment from one of the developers now. They are updating views once a day now for us. So if you've had views during the day, your number will be higher than ours. So that's my understanding. They had to, I don't know, the data that they're sitting on, they just had to process it for us once a day, rather. For us, I'm saying all developers. They process it once a day, like I guess at midnight or something like that. So it's no longer real time.
Fair enough. Yeah. So I think with any of these things, don't try and make all the numbers exactly add up because of all of this kind of thing. But if they're significantly out, then absolutely there's
Yeah,
something.
I mean, if it's 1 or 2, let it slide. But if it's material, please let us know. I'm all for getting those numbers as accurate as possible.
Yep. Amanda, what's the best way to find other new shops in your niche to track your sales compared to theirs?
Rank checker.
Yep.
I seriously, I would use the rank checker all the time for that. Look at the keywords that are popular in your niche, go and type them into the rank checker. It'll come back with 500 listings, sort them by views in descending order, and then just look for listings that have got, not 200,000 views if you've got a new shop, but a reasonably good number of views that's fairly aspirational for your next step. Find shop names that look interesting, that look like they're selling similar products to you. Make a note of the name. Do some more searches in the rank checker, and if you start to see the same shops appearing multiple times, then I think you've probably found yourself, a competitor that is worth watching. You can probably learn a lot from them, and even if you're not learning a lot from them directly, these are good shops to have as your little personal benchmark. So if you're going in to the competitor sales report each day, these would be good shops to have in there, because you want to know whether your sales are sort of going in parallel with their sales. If your sales are going up and theirs are going up, great. If yours are going down and theirs are going down, you can say, it's not great, but at least it's not just me. And if your sales are going up and theirs are going down, you can send them an email and be gloating and saying, hey, I'm kicking your butt. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah, we do actually. I see you're on YouTube. We do just have a series of videos about competitors on the YouTube channel. Anthony covered it better in about 3 seconds, but you can check that out as well. Let's see what we've got. I think there's only a couple left, so Debbie,
Okay.
please bear with us. Oh, yeah, here we go. We get this one quite a bit. In the listing audit under competition category, in reference to the tags, what do the colours indicate? Is red bad and green good?
No, I wish we could make them all blue, because it's not meant to be good or bad. It's not meant to be hot or cold or high or low. When I originally created it, it was just meant to be like a temperature gauge, something like that. And I tried to change it to all blue, and people got really upset with me. So the colors have stuck. I joke about it, but use them as indicators. So if you see green for search volume, then you know it's a lot of searches going on. If you see green for clicks and click-through rate, you know that people are engaging with listings found when they search for those keywords. And if you see red in the competition, then you know there's a lot of competition there. Just to go one step further, I wouldn't worry too much about a lot of competition. I think if there's a lot of competition, they've figured something out and you want to be part of the action.
Absolutely. Yes, it's an experimenting game. That's what we say every week. You find out what looks the best for you, and those colors can just help you compare different things and see. But then you pick the keywords and you stick them in your shop and you see how you go with them. That's, unfortunately, there's no perfect way to do keyword research or to make the perfect listing. You've just got to create it. Trying to read and not make my lips move to see what are questions here.
What does visit?
We've just got lots of nice comments.
Okay, I'll pop in into the group afterwards and have a look.
Cool. I think that's a question. Jane over on YouTube. In the listing change tracker section of eRank, will there ever be an update where all the daily views for all listings will be shown at once rather than click on each?
This is kind of related to the question earlier. We are looking at that because the listing changes feature sucks a lot of data down from Etsy. We have to be careful that we don't upset Etsy too much here. So that's why I hesitate here. I'm in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, how can we do this? Because we're literally talking about millions of listings we've got to update every day. So it's definitely on my goal of things to do. I really want to solve it. Unfortunately, it probably won't be for everyone. It will probably just be for people that are on the pro or the expert plans. So yeah, I can't promise anything at this stage. We've got to do load testing and talk to Etsy and say, hey guys, are you okay with us doing all this? And if they are, then we'll certainly open it up to more people. But I'm afraid we might have to limit it a little bit.
Yeah, sadly, there is so much.
Yeah, I'm probably going to talk a little bit out of turn, but Etsy have dropped a few hints to the developer community about a certain technology they're working on, which could, in theory, make this possible for us without ruining the friendship we have with Etsy. So I hope that they do that this year. If they do that this year, then we're going to have some great news for everyone. We'll make it available to everyone.
Fab.
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. Can we increase the number of shops we track? I'm pro and I would love more than 50.
Same sort of deal. We track a lot of shops. So we can't just open the floodgates here. However, if you are prepared to pay more, you can upgrade to the expert plan and track up to 200 shops. So that's not probably the news you were hoping to hear, but if that's something you're willing to do, you're more than welcome to check out that. That's on the plans page.
Yep. Lisa asked, I'm new to Etsy. I sell printables. I've never used Pinterest, but do you think it's worth using?
Oh, I wish Starla was here for this one.
I know. Well, I think even she's not big on not big that she doesn't like it, but I don't think any of us have quite got to grips with Pinterest just now.
No.
It changed about a year and a half ago, and it's been a bit tricky.
Yeah, I've seen some numbers like in the data that we get that tells me that Pinterest in a little bit of trouble, that its audience might be starting to decline a little bit. So could be possibly too much spam on there. I don't know. It may have lost that special essence it used to have.
Yeah. I suppose there's other social media that the young kids are using now as well. So
that TikTok thing.
That thing, yes. I would say with any social media, if you don't physically use it, then I wouldn't use it as your first, second, or third social media to do. Stick with the ones that you actually use because you understand how they work, which is probably why I'm not very good at Pinterest because I have no idea how to actually use it as a user either. Sorry if we're missing anybody. We will try and check these questions later, and try not to get duplicate questions. Debbie's begging us to speed round through this. Okay, we've just got a couple of people asking, what's a good mix of search volume and competition, which I think you kind of covered, but
yeah, there's a whole bunch of different schools out there. Some are like, has to be all low competition, has to be all high search volume, has to be both, or it has to be a blend of each. I think you've really just got to focus more on the words and how relevant they are to your listing more than anything else. I would look at the broad product and go, is there enough of an audience out there? So if I'm selling a silver ring, I want to go and search for silver ring and know that there's signs of life out there. Is there, an average of a couple of thousand searches a month for a very broad term like that? Then what I would do is I would focus on words that relate to silver ring and to what I'm selling. So if it's a silver ring with a shamrock pattern or something like that, I'd probably go, oh yeah, that relates to what I'm selling. Use that keyword. I wouldn't worry too much about the search volume, whether it's super high, super low, or the competition. Now, like I said earlier, I don't particularly think of high competition as a threat. So you're really looking for signs of life at the end of the day. Yeah. If you were to push me, yeah, do a blend. Make sure you've got some of those head type queries in there, which have got several thousand searches a month. And also make sure you've got some good long tail keywords in there.
Yeah, well, we did just actually do. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
One more thing. Less focusing on the numbers, but have a look at who that product is for. If it's a gift, is it for a relative? Is it like for a male relative or a female relative? If it is for one of those, mum, daughter, aunt, dad, uncle, son, something like that. Think about who it's for. If it's for an occasion, think about that occasion. Make sure that occasion's in there. If it's for Christmas, if it's for St. Patrick's Day, make sure you put those words in there. Don't worry too much about the numbers. If you've got a product that is of interest, then you're looking really at the words and why people are looking to buy that product, and get those sort of words in there, those descriptors, those, what's the word? Nouns, adjectives. Oh, Jan, are you listening? Can you help?
Yeah, what's the English
I'm a
for
native
that?
English speaker.
Yeah, and we did just, I think it was today, just posted in the Facebook group, just a little thing, just saying, it's like, look at a mix. Don't be put off with high search, high competition ones. Have a mixture. I've mentioned this before. I'll just quickly say it, and I think that's us finished. But you can, if you start off with a listing that isn't ranking for the super high competition things, but it's doing well for some lower ones, you can find over time, as you build up that listing quality score, you can start to do a little bit better. I certainly saw that in my shop in the run up to Christmas. I started ranking for a dog bookmark term, and then as I started to make sales and things for that, I saw I was starting to rank and get views from like higher competition terms as I did better. So it's good to have those in there that you can start ranking for them and start getting seen for them as time goes on and your listing does better. Yeah, and I think we got to the bottom. Oh,
If we're at the end, I have one more thing I want to show people, and that's the update we made a couple of days ago.
oh, cool.
So can I
You
share my
want
screen? Or can you
you
share my
can?
screen one more time, please?
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.
It takes about 3 seconds for it to share from when I hit the button.
Here we go. Okay.
There we go.
So we just updated our help system. So I hope you have noticed it. There is a little eRank icon down the bottom here where the feedback button used to be. So it's got a lot smarter. So we've got a basic "how can we help you today" sort of thing. So you can see in here recent conversations you've had with one of the team members here. You can send us a message. You can search for help within the system itself. And we've also got a couple of like related articles, depending on where you are on the site. So in this case, I'm in one of the keyword tools. So I've got an article here on how to do keyword research. So I strongly recommend you check that out. If you're stuck with something and you're kind of going, oh, heck, how do I do this? Or what is that for? If you're brand new, we've got a tasks option in here, which basically goes through the steps that we think is important to get started on Etsy. So connect your shop to eRank, learn about what buyers do some keyword research, do some competitor research, and then optimize your listing. So you can expand on those and learn more about each of those. And then lastly, we've got a whole bunch of articles that we've put into collections. So you can find out about, what is eRank? You can learn about competitor research. So you can go into here and you can see things like, oh, here's Pam's video on how to do competitor research. So it's all in there now. And of course, you can send us a message. Now, I'm manning the fort here for a few days. So if you use that, you'll probably get me responding to you, sometimes pretty quickly if I'm near the computer at the time. So we're trying to really help people use the system better and give you more timely advice. And generally, I'm seeing that the system seems to be doing a pretty good job. So, check it out. Next time you got a question, hit that little icon there, browse through there, or send us a message, and let us know what you think. Thanks.
Yeah, super. Let us know if there's any other advice you want in there, any other tutorials, or if what
Yeah.
we've given is rubbish as well.
Oh yeah. Well, talking of rubbish, if we have something in there which you think, oh, that's just, I can't understand that at all, let us know. Just send us a message and say, I am totally confused, and we'll get
Now
back to you.
you have to go in and reply to that.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm going to leave myself a bad review too. So yeah, so there you go. That's it. Thanks everyone for joining in. Looks like we had a whole bunch of questions. That's awesome. Had people from, gosh, everywhere. Where did we have
Yeah,
today? Virginia, Ireland, Texas. Looks like we had at least one Aussie, which is that's an early bird. Okay,
yeah,
so everyone have a great day. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you roughly this time next week.
yeah. Thank you so much, guys.